Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another very exciting Star Wars news update. It's always a great day when we have some Star Wars movie news, and this one has got me pretty stoked. Can I say stoked as a British person? Sounds more like an Americanism, doesn't it? Anyway, I'm pretty pumped, pretty excited about this, and it follows on from what I was saying a couple of days ago. I believe Star Wars Starfighter by Shawn Levy is the most exciting movie in the upcoming slate. And it's ironic because it was only announced a month and a half ago, and we already have a plot synopsis, a release date, and today a massive casting update. And because things are moving so fast, comparative to films like the Rey movie, I actually believe this one's gonna happen, and it seems like they have a solid, structural plan for what could be an amazing story. If you compare it to the Rey movie, for instance, that was announced back in 2023. Apart from a few comments by Daisy Ridley, we have not had a single official update. Nothing about who else is going to be in it, and there was nothing for it at Star Wars Celebration. They only talked about The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is May 2026, and Star Wars Starfighter, which drops on May 28th, 2027. And by the way guys, don't know if you saw this video I made about a month ago, but the rumoured plot synopsis ended up being true. But let's talk about the brand new cast announcement. Ryan Gosling, as we know, is going to be the hero of the story. But now we know who the villain is going to be played by. Mia Goth. Top caliber actress. Perfect in the horror movies that she's played in. And I have to wonder what kind of character this is going to be. Is it going to be a Sith Eternal cultist? Because this is set after Palpatine's second death. Or is she going to be a rogue force user? Maybe a new type of Sith Order has emerged. But I want them to do something fresh. Something completely separate to what we saw in Rise. This is just a few years after the sequel trilogy, but Shawn Levy promises it's got nothing to do with it. It's not a prequel, it's not a sequel, it's entirely standalone. I wish this was coming 2026. I wish they'd made this the first Star Wars movie back in cinemas. The time period it's in, the amazing caliber of actors. I'm telling you guys, this would have been such a big win. I think it still can be. So, let me just talk you through the sequence of events. The original actress that Lucasfilm and Shawn Levy were eyeing for the main villain of this film was Mikey Madison. She turned the role down, but their second choice, and the one who agreed to it, is Mia Goth. Famous for her work in The Cure for Wellness and Ty West's trilogy of horror films X, Pearl, and Maxine. And her next project before the Star Wars movie is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. And personally for me, having watched quite a few films she's been in, my favourite thing about her as an actress and potential Star Wars villain is her eerie but dominant screen presence. As far as villains go, and I mean this in a complimentary sense, she has an otherworldly and ethereal quality to the way she can do certain facial expressions, the way she's able to contort her face. I honestly think it's perfect for a Star Wars Sith, or whatever type of villain she's going to play. Now I usually enjoy taking this opportunity to speculate about which character from, I don't know, the expanded universe or another Star Wars project that she might play. I think speculating about Drash in Book of Boba Fett and about Sigourney Weaver in The Mandalorian and Grogu has taught us a very valuable lesson. Lucasfilm isn't too much of a fan of deep cuts, especially for a new Star Wars story. This is going to be an entirely new character, so don't expect Darth Talon or Callista or someone else you can imagine her as. I'm not even going to go down that route. If I'm wrong, fair enough. But I'm 99% certain this is going to be an entirely new character. The Hollywood Reporter says Lucasfilm had no comment. They don't want to confirm or deny it, but this story has been corroborated by numerous industry insiders. They say, the film is a standalone story that will be unconnected to the so-called Skywalker saga. Shawn Levy says, it's a new adventure. It's set in a period of time we've not yet explored. And like I said, the original plot synopsis rumour is in fact true. A 15-year-old boy is on a mission with his uncle Ryan Gosling, as they're being pursued by a duo of villains. And one of those villains is Mia Goth. Is it going to be akin to a Baylan and Shin scenario? Is Mia the master or the apprentice? I wouldn't be surprised if they follow a similar archetype because Lucasfilm knows how popular Baylan and Shin were in Ahsoka, so it might be a similar duo dynamic. This movie will be our first on-screen glimpse at the post-Episode 9 galaxy. Pretty darn exciting. We also now have official confirmation filming begins this fall, so things are progressing rather quickly, which is great news. If you've got a script, the actors are ready, get the ball rolling. And more good news, at least from the perspective of my neck of the woods, and if you're a fan of Andor, filming is going to take place in the UK. They're probably going to use Pinewood again. For a standalone Star Wars movie like this, you want it to look the best it can. You want some incredible visuals, some new planets, some great choreography, some great lightsaber fights. And I saw a really funny theory that speculated, what if Ryan Gosling's character's nephew is Broom Boy from The Last Jedi? We never got a follow-up to that story, but like I said about Mia Goth and speculating about who these actors might play, I think it's futile. Shawn Levy is very clear that this is not connected in any way to episodes 7, 8 and 9. It's a fun idea, but I don't see them doing that. It makes sense, age-wise. This is set 5 to 6 years after Rise, but I think it's in Lucasfilm's best interest to not remind fans of the sequel trilogy. They want to come back kicking and doing new things, bringing new ideas into the Star Wars universe, new characters, especially when you have Ryan Gosling and now Mia Goth. You want to blow fans away, get them believing in Star Wars on the big screen again. I've seen some really mixed reactions to this update, and that really surprises me. I don't know if those people actually saw her films, or maybe her style and the genre of films she's been in aren't their speed, but to my mind she's a great actress, and because she's very expressive, as long as they don't hide her likeness under a ton of makeup for alien designs, she can make a great character. I've also seen quite a lot of criticism that Ryan Gosling being such a famous actor might be very distracting for something like Star Wars, but during a time where general interest in the brand has been a lot lower than just a few years ago, with Ryan still being very relevant in pop culture spaces, just by way of his name being attached, I think that could bring in a new audience of fans. Then there's the concern of Shawn Levy and his style of filmmaking. I'm not as big on the Marvel stuff, but the way he was able to pair mystery with fantasy and Stranger Things does give me a lot of hope. That could translate really well in Star Wars. And because the sequels were still focused on the Skywalkers and Rey, this movie is a real opportunity for a great departure from all of that. You can be as bold as you want. If you're not connecting it to established lore, you can shape the post-Rise of Skywalker time period as much as you want. I mean, within reason, and the constraints of the way this universe works, but you know what I mean. New planets, new Force users, ones who maybe don't know about Rey's Academy, which is going to be a big presence during this time, and you've got to work independent of that. I think Lucasfilm recently confirmed that in this time period, there isn't a New Republic. The Resistance is still around, but there's no wider organization. So in the ashes of the fall of the First Order, there's a bit of a power vacuum. That's something I want to see explored, but in a much more rogue and constrained way, with just a couple of detached villains and 2 citizens, Ryan Gosling and his nephew, just trying to live their life. I suspect the 15-year-old is going to be a Force user, and maybe he's going to be discovered. I hope there's no Rey at the end to take him into her academy, but the way they explore this, in an age where people don't really think about the Jedi as much, that's something to be truly excited about. And what are dark side users like, post-episode 9? So a lot of questions, pretty excited for this. Share your thoughts on this news in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, my dear friends, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check me out on socials. The link to my Patreon, by the way, is down in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.